Hello there, and welcome to the I Never Knew podcast, also known as Inc. This show dives into the life experiences of people who have been through it all and have come through the other side stronger, better, and triumphant. Each story is raw, authentic, and, at times, heartbreaking. One thing joins it all together: the fact that the stories can help the listener learn and grow. Hosted by life coach Maureen, she sits down each episode with a new guest who will empower the listener to set out on their self-discovery journey and start to heal. Now you'll be joined by Maureen and her special guest. Please enjoy the show.
Hello, listeners. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Whatever time you are listening to us today, we are so happy that you are here. Welcome to this week's episode of I Never Knew, But My Dog Did podcast. I don't know why when I say that, I look at my microphone. I need to really just stay with the camera if you're watching us on YouTube. I am so excited about today's guest, and I want you guys to do me a quick favor before we get into who my wonderful, beautiful new guest is. And we were just talking offline, and I swear, I feel like I've known her forever. It's a click. It's just one of those things, and you guys know it. You meet someone, and you're like, oh, yeah, I know you. Let's resume the conversations we've always had. But today, guys, I want to make sure that everyone, if you're whatever platform you're listening on, there's a little follow button. And I always say, hey, please subscribe, please give us reviews, which I absolutely love. But just hitting that follow button really increases this community and our ability to expand this to more listeners and more people that need to hear some hope and love and inspiration. So hit that follow button. As you know, my name is Maureen Scanlon. I am your hostess, and I am also known as Life Coach Maureen. I am a master life coach, an award-winning author, a podcast host, and also a business owner. And most importantly, a dog lover. And you all know my backstory on why I love the puppies. They bring unconditional love. They inspire us to live a life that is truly authentic to who we are and to be fulfilled. Today, oh my goodness, my girl. Now, I love her to pieces already, but I'm so disappointed because she was living in my hood here in Austin. And then I just found out, and I am jelly, she moved to Costa Rica. So I'm happy for her, sad for me. But we're going to get into what she's doing in Costa Rica and how she found her way there. But let me tell you about my guest, Kelly Keefe. She is a groundbreaking thought leader, founder, and CEO of the Heartspace, an international best-selling author where she supports leaders, entrepreneurs, and spiritual seekers to elevate to their fullest clarity, execution, expression, and alignment with God. She is a catalyst for transformation, empowerment, and prosperity for those who enter her energetic field. As a Reiki master teacher and vibrational artist, passionate about helping people live from their heart space. She's the author of Rise Above Fear. She specializes in supporting female leaders getting clear on their destiny, clear the blocks, rise above fear, and create the life they deserve to have. Oh my heavens. Welcome, Miss Kelly Keefe.
Oh, thank you, darling. I'm so happy to be here. And yeah, we dropped in. I was like, okay, what's up, sis?
And it's always like that. I know it's always going to be fantastic because you wouldn't be here if you were not supposed to be in front of me and on my path. And I'm so glad that you are. So that's a beautiful bio. And I love everything that you're about. And if you're looking on YouTube, listeners, you can just see she glows. She just glows. Her whole aura is just light and love. But I'm sure at one time it was a struggle. And here on I Never Knew, it's really what we do is we tell our listeners, we start with that story of when we weren't so glowy. We were in the throes of this is not working. And what is this life supposed to be for me? And we call it a knee story, which is kind of that moment in life. And there's many where you are on your knees going, I'm just not happy. I don't feel this is what I'm here to do. So could you share with us what your knee story or stories are?
Yeah, there's so many. I always say advanced healers had to have advanced curriculum, so life was tough, Um, a little bit of a hindsight, I was having visitations from Jesus Christ and some of the other ascended masters at ages 5 and 6. And that started to have me feel an understanding there, but feeling very disassociated from physical reality. In hindsight, I was being told, like, so this is going to happen. I feel like I was getting primed a little like, we got you. Shit's about to get crazy, but we got you. And then through childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, I was in a lot of adversity in my household. My sister was cruel to me. So all of these things that just really depleted my self-worth, my self-esteem. I was depressed. I was that super emo child. My family was Catholic, but I completely was like, I'm not about this. Like, I don't resonate with any of this that's going on. And so I was really pushing away the God force in so many ways and feeling disconnected. It was when I went to college. I was 250 pounds, depressed, people pleasing, getting into so many unhealthy, romantic, air quote romantic for those who are listening, dynamics. And I had a light switch moment at the end of freshman year. And it really is like there's just a ding ding. Someone said, okay, it's time for her to remember, switch it up. And it was just like that. I locked in a new mindset that I was going to start going to the gym every day. I was going to eat fruits, vegetables, grilled chicken, and Special K, the cereal. I wouldn't eat that now personally. If that's your thing, go for it. But that was like, and I locked in and I did not waver from that. And I switched my major from education to business. I had no idea why I was doing it, but everything was just, it was just like a new programming got uploaded. And I kept going. And of course, the healing journey just began at that point. And there was a lot of moments of, this isn't it. I'm not fulfilled. Or, and it just kept going and going. I feel that could be the whole episode of us talking of the human matching the divinity, but that's a great starting point.
Wow, I love that. I love those stories because it is how we get to where we are. And if you're like me, my background with the quotes romantic, mine were narcissistic and damaging and toxic, and it's because my own self-esteem and my upbringing of codependence was I had to chase love, I had to earn it, I wasn't valuable, I wasn't lovable, and so I had to do everything I could to make people love me. And I love the light switch moment, and it's cool because listeners, your light switch moment can come at any time. Mine was way later, not till I was 45. So I really love when I hear these light switch moments came sooner. And do you think that and this is really, I love this sort of debate because people will be like, well, yeah, but you had to decide. You had to take the human action to do it, even though you got that download, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, how how much do you think is spiritual versus mindset, mindfulness to be able to overcome those things? Because I know for me, I just had to finally make a choice to love
Mm-hmm.
myself. And the catalyst was my dogs looking at me with unconditional love and me realizing, oh my gosh, I do not love myself like you guys love me. Do you think it's spiritually guided, or do you think or is it both? Is it a combination?
Yeah. Wow, that's a big question. I love it. For me, what comes up is it's definitely both, where we look at the complexities of mind, body, spirit, and when we look at the cultivation of it, and when looking at the power of the mind, which is the energy that flows through the anatomical brain, A big component of that is the subconscious mind, which is fueling the beliefs and the programs. And when we look at the ego, and we're not talking about the spiritual ego, that's where they could get complex as well. When we're talking about the anatomical part of the brain that they have coined the ego, the id in the brain, its role is to prove we are right. So, whatever thoughts, beliefs, things that we're saying to ourselves, it immediately goes to work to prove we're right. So when we look at the physicalities of the human experience, and that's been like my jam of like, let's learn the vehicle. I'm a spiritual being having a human experience, so let me really learn this thing so I can drive my vehicle well. So when we're looking at that aspect, I'm like, yeah, like I know mindset has changed things for me in my business and my relationship to money, which was a huge wound for me because self-worth, value, bada 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 bada, going there. And then for me, I can't deny the presence of God and remembering, like, wait a second, there are so many guides and angels and God force all around me, and I was created by design. And so, like, that more that I can embrace, like, I'm so loved that I even got created, and like, here you go, have this journey and be in touch with my spiritual practice and that spiritual essence of myself that remember that's just unconditional love. So in essentially I am love, and then just getting that part that's the mind, that's the human, we get that human part that we start to say, hey, remember, can we all work together as a team? And it's that piece of getting all parts of ourselves together as a team that really allows us to move forward as love.
Yeah. And I do not want to simplify what you just said, but what came to mind was if I
Please.
wrapped that all up in a pretty package, it's acceptance. It's acceptance of the spiritual part of us, the acceptance of the experience that we've asked for, it's acceptance of failure, it's acceptance of love, it's acceptance. All of that just in my mind was screaming that acceptance. And when you accept the download that you got, that's when you can do those changes and you can make those mindsets and say, I accept this is where I am, and I accept that I can do something differently. I can create something. And for me, coming from that conditioning and that upbringing, it was difficult to think I was allowed to do something different or think something opposing what I was programmed to think. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I mean, there's a space of permission. So it's like, we side note, y'all, we did not plan this. We said, let's just see how the conversation flows and like we'll trust what needs to come up. So I run an 8-week program called Permission Granted because I received a transmission in 2020. And at first I was immediately wanting to go to the mountains and shout it from the rooftop. But I heard so clearly, no, first you embody this. This is for you. And then once you've actually embodied it, then go and teach it. And it was that remembering deeper of the subconscious mind of as children, when there's something that comes into our field that we want to go do, we have to go ask someone outside of ourselves to go do the things. And it's not that that's wrong. It's just when we, again, learning the vehicle, our subconscious mind is built upon everything that happens from the ages of 0 to 11. So in those prime times, we have built a belief, a pattern, a program that when we want to do something, we need to look to someone outside of ourselves for permission to do it, which also includes our greatness. Like that acceptance, I would add to it, yes. And for the listener reminder, you can also accept you're here to be great. You can accept that greatness lies within you, and you can accept exactly how you were designed and made is needed for you to fulfill whatever mission it is that God has placed on your heart. And if you're triggered by the word God, sorry, I'm not sorry, that's my non-negotiable with them, insert whatever works for you. Replay the sentence and say source, universe, whatever works for you. But you are made by design, and we can surrender and accept that we can do great things and we can do hard things and we can build greatness.
Oh, And that's huge. That's really huge because it's interesting. As a life coach, I'm consistently helping people undo those understandings that were placed within them. Rather, we try to build on, like you said, it's like Glenda the Good Witch said, it was always in you. You just had to find it. And I love that permission granted, because we've been taught not to be selfish. We've been taught to put others first. We've been taught be nice. We've been taught, all those things that we've heard over the years, and we're finally embracing you're allowed to love yourself, self-love, self-care, self-confidence, self-esteem, all of those things. And it's okay because it makes us better for others in the world instead of the reverse. And I love the permission granted aspect of that. In fact, in my coaching, I have my clients, I'll have them write a letter to themselves. They'll have to write a letter of forgiveness to themselves. They'll have to write a letter of promise to themselves, because you're right. It's all those outside influences. And don't you find that people who seem to be sort of stuck in the place that they are, the constant that you hear, that I hear, is, well, they make me feel this way, or they say this, or, my husband's always telling me I need to. It's this constant tape playing outside of us. And you put it so beautifully with your course that you offer. Stop looking outside of yourself. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah. Where there's the space of, and side note, I have the bundle of them is hanging out at my dear friend's house in Austin. So I'm gonna have her, maybe I'll have you guys link up, but definitely at least ship them to you. And anyone who's listening, shameless plug, on my site, we actually have permission slips. And there's like a practice that goes with it. So you can buy the permission slip pack and like a practice that goes with it to support you in doing that on your own. I'm just going to have her give you a stack of them just for yourself, just as a gift. But if anyone wants any, let me know. But to remember that we have a unique design and guidance system that's available to us if we listen. And the more we can continue to remember, I don't even like to say learn, you already know. Whoever's listening, just like let your soul be, oh, yeah, I know that. Just a reminder. I'm not here to teach you anything. I'm just here to remind you of stuff that you already know. A reminder what is the right thing or the wrong thing for you may be very different from Joe, Bob, Susan, and Murray, who are all around you saying certain things. So as we can continue to deepen that connection to ourself and deepen that connection to the highest power that is. That's like a lifeguard being like, no, don't go swim in that part of the ocean. Go over here. Now there's sharks over there. Or, oh, there's a sandbar over there. You can go way farther if you keep going on that side. The more we learn to tune out all the other people we're hanging out with at the beach, doesn't mean we can't hang out with them and have a great beach day. But the more we say, I'm not going to listen to you, I'm going to listen to the lifeguard who's telling me directly what to do, because they can see things way further than any of us can. That allows us to be able to really move through this world in a way of such deep trust and guidance that we can get led places we never saw coming in a good way.
I love that analogy so much, because a lifeguard has a bird's eye view of the big picture, and we're always so focused on the next wave. So that is such a cool analogy, listeners. I hope you agree with me. So here's something I struggle with. And since you are a thought leader and you help people a lot in the business arena, my duality in life comes from my opposition from who I am personally and business. So I am not very assertive in business. I'm kind of the build it and they will come girl. I hate being salesy. I hate And then hate, strong word. This is a strong word.
Yeah,
Literally,
bring it, girl.
it opposes my spirit to market and be salesy. I'm working on that. And that's why for 2024, it's all about the flow and I'm letting it happen. How do I reconcile who I am spiritually about I'm just here to bring a message and spread love and passion. And I also need to have abundance and, provide for my necessities. Can you help us out on that?
Yeah. So, and we already decided we're gonna chat off here, give each other your phone number, sister, sister from another mister. So we can like dive deeper into there. I'll go macro right now, unless you want to, but we'll go. I feel inspired to go more macro of for anyone who's in that space of one, a reminder, entrepreneurship and spirituality are one and the same. Spirituality. Wow, there's something bigger than me. I'm a part of something and I'm stepping into the unknown. And I just have to kind of go on trust and faith. And I'm learning new things about myself and I'm growing, I'm exploring, and I'm becoming something new. Entrepreneurship. I can feel I'm a part of something bigger. I'm here to bring something to the world that doesn't exist yet. I'm taking a vision and I'm going to make it a reality here on the physical. And it's going to require me to listen and trust my intuition and try things and go out and step into the unknown. And I'm going to experience things and go through things and I'm going to become something other than I was. For me, they're synonymous. Mm. And when I look at hindsight of why I was guided to change the business, why I had my first startup out of college at 21 years old and, running wholesale retail like it's synonymous. And so one reminder for everyone, we can look at them as the same thing. And then I love sales. I was in sales for a while. Like I just love all aspects of business. Where I would invite us to look at what is the story and the meaning we're assigning to it. Because anything in life, whether it's business, it's personal, or anything, it always comes to what's the meaning we're assigning to it. What are we making it mean about ourselves that we do something? And what's the intention that we carry into it? For me, a little bit more of like my resistance in like the marketing, which then I hired a team around me to like, cool, that's my resistance, is in human design. I'm a projector 2/5. So I love to hermit. I am so at peace hanging out by myself, doing my thing. I love people. I love connection, but I'm also so good at just like, all right, I'll see you guys in a few days, whatever. So it was that allowing to like consistently be seen and engage and know the energies that come with it. That's been my challenges. I just want to like reminder to everyone, I'm human. So I want to make sure I put in the like I'm always moving through things as well. But when it comes to sales, it doesn't need to be a sale, it's a share.
Yeah.
And what I tell my clients, so I do business coaching with my program, the Ascended Mastermind, where I help people who are, already deep on their journey and they've had the starts of their, service of this and that. I help them build a 6-figure business. Like it's not hard. We just have to know what to do and then execute it. Is that reminder we have soul contracts with people. We don't have to try so hard. You and I agreed before we incarnated into this human shell that we would meet on this day at that time, have the thing, this and that. And that's why I believe that we dropped in and you said, you're like, we just picked up where we left off. We had a soul contract. We've been doing this for lifetimes. So the same thing with our clients. There's an agreement and we're actually doing a disservice to them by not showing up and putting it out there because they're praying for it.
Ooh, what a neat way of looking at that. I love that. And I believe all of that. In fact, I just had a guest on last week, Lauren Wenzel, who does human design, and I'm a manifester. So you have patience and I do not. So I'm completely energetic and I am completely like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's make this happen. So you can understand you are the patient one who sits back and like, hey, it's going to happen. And I'm going to just work on it until when it comes. And I'm more like, what's happening? Come on, let's make this, let's do this. But I've been doing really well with that. And someone had helped me in one of my groups, help me to define it better. And I think you're right when it comes to, I apologize, I'm trying to find it. When it comes to your business, and because I worked in corporate for 27 years and it was soul sucking, it just was not for me, but I valued the business knowledge that it did give me. And as a leader in that corporation, it was very helpful to be able to lead others. And I've helped many people in my coaching start businesses, small businesses. So I love that view of it, that I think that goes very closely to my build it and they will come, because my favorite saying, nothing meant for you will ever miss you. And I feel like I don't have to try that hard. So when I think of marketing and sales, that's why it's opposition, because I'm like, it should just flow and they will come and my soul contracts. But then there's that, I still have to make that effort. So I think it's reconciling the two of them. Like I have to be visible for them to come. I have to market and I have to, let everyone know it's out there for them to come. I can't just expect, people to, it's just going to pop in their mind and be like, I bet you there's a book out there about dogs. And no, I have to let them know, here's a book about dogs. Does this align with you? And then they come. So that is beautiful to me. The soul contract thing just aligns so well with me. So let's stay on that path. Yeah. So we have contracts, and I've found it very helpful when I need to remove relationships that are toxic or situations by saying this contract has ended. How do we, is that a good way to really come to terms with being able to make those hard decisions with family, friends, acquaintances, jobs, places to live? Is that a good way to look at it, to be able to take those next big steps?
My invitation for everyone is a reminder of, we have the soul mission that we're up to serve humanity this lifetime. And then we also have our own unique soul curriculum. So we have our own experiences to move through and grow through, not because we're being punished, not because we manifested it and we did something wrong. Sometimes we just have to experience things because our soul has to go through that to learn a lesson. So my invitation of anything that's challenging first, before going to, this just no longer serves me, and just cut it off. My invitation is for, and sometimes that's what's needed. If it's very toxic and abusive, by all means, please separate yourself and do the things. So I want to preface with that before I go any deeper. But if you're moving through a challenging dynamic, or you've been living in the same place and you're like, this happens to me in New York, when I was in New York, all the time, where I just be like, I love my humans here, but this is really challenging environment for me. And I'm not as happy as I know I could be. Like, are we done here? And often as I got, not yet. And I got, pulled back, again, I'm air quoting for those who aren't watching video. I got pulled back in for 6 months last year. And it needed, but it needed to happen. And I ask myself, through those relationships and those dynamics and those places, because I move all the time, is what am I here to learn? We're missing the point if we don't stop and see the opportunity in everything in the bigger perspective. So if there's a really challenging dynamic with somebody, we can ask, what's the soul lesson here? And again, this brings us back to listening deeply. finding the space, creating space, clearing yourself so you can truly listen. And you might not hear it, you might feel it, you might just free write it and be able to come up to it. But what is the lesson? Why is this repeating? Or what do we have to learn from one another? What do I need to evolve something in myself to be able to show up in the situation differently? Because if we don't actually get the lesson and embody the lesson for our own soul development, we're just going to find another person with the exact same dynamic. So it's not about the person. It's about the interaction and the soul lesson that they're leading us to. Our biggest challenges truly are teachers. There's a beautiful story called The Cosmic Bus Stop, where all these souls are waiting to incarnate and they're at the bus stop, waiting for the bus to come to bring them down the silver cord and go into the wombs, da 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 da. And they're asking each other, what are you going to Earth to learn? What are you going to Earth to learn? And they're going through, and someone says, I'm going to learn forgiveness on a level 10. And they all said, whoa, that's a master course. You're going to learn forgiveness on a level 10? And they said, yeah, I've been going a lot, so I want to go big. And said, you're going to have some really terrible stuff happen to you for you to get the opportunity to practice forgiveness at a level 10. They said, yeah, I know there's going to be some really challenging stuff and some really hard times. And I need someone to volunteer to be that person so my soul can get the opportunity and the gift of learning forgiveness at a level 10. And everyone at the bus stop was like, no, not me. No way. I won't do that. And someone from the back popped up and said, I'll do it. I love you so much. I'm willing to be a villain in your life this next lifetime. So your soul gets the gift of learning forgiveness at a level 10 that's going to elevate your spiritual growth for your next lifetimes. And they hugged, they got on the bus and they went. So that reminder, when we go through these things, that person who's really hard, and this is I can already feel this rubbing and creating friction in some people, and feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to hold space on it. They love you. There's an ingredient of it. And again, if it's abusive, this and that, the soul lesson is create your boundaries and get the fuck out of there and go love yourself and find people who can support you to bring yourself back to that, to learn the boundary of not letting that happen. Not letting that happen. Again, I mean this, and it's not your fault. Like, please know, I say this with so much compassion and have been in my own dynamics. It's not your fault. It's a growth. So my invitation would be, if you're in a challenging space, before going and just saying, okay, we're done here, search, is there an opportunity for growth? Our souls are so fortunate to be in this human suit, to be able to advance as much as we can in this crash course that is the human experience. And then if you're like, yo, this is complete, we're good, well then yeah, contract ended and off you go.
Wow. I had goosebumps, which is validation from spirit for me. Always knowing that truth is being spoken. I 100% agree with you. And listeners know sort of my personal story. I'm estranged from my oldest daughter, and we're just not to be in the same space. But I say all the time, she's been my greatest teacher. And I do believe those experiences, when they're repeating themselves, and we have to be aware they're not going to repeat themselves in the same way. So for me, there were, and I'm not diagnosing anyone, but being that I do have certifications in narcissistic relationships and personalities, the narcissistic traits that were common in people I dated and then relatives and friends, it was presenting itself in these different ways. And I thought, oh, well, I got rid of the relationships with these, people who have narcissistic traits. And then it presented in family members, and then it presented in friendships. And I'm like, dang it, I thought I had that. So I love that. And I believe that 100%, that even the people that hurt you the most, because the greater the pain, the greater the growth, that they do love you. And I agree with you 1,000,000%. We're here to help each other. And what better show of love than to be hated in physical, to be so loving in spiritual. And so I love that, which brings me to a really important question. And I did a little podcast panel this last week. And the topic was karma. What do you think about karma? Because we've been told, oh, I must have been a terrible person in a past life, or that's your karma, you earned it. I don't believe in karma. I don't believe, I think it's a buzzword. There's a lot of buzzwords in the health and wellness industry. What do you think about karma? Why is that become this belief that we were bad, we earn this thing, or if you do good, what you give, you get back? What do you think about karma?
I love your questions.
Thank you.
So I do believe we reap what we sow. Everything that we put out comes back to us times 3. And from my dives into past life work and from working with, so I've been studying with various Indigenous elders all through my 20s. And I'm deeply in the Bible. You name it, I've delved into it, and I've traveled the world to sit with an elder or a spiritual leader on it. So I have a lot of different perspectives and teachings that I'm kind of chilling with all the time. And I believe, and from what I've visited myself, we've all had lifetimes of being a really great person, a really shitty person, we've all had a variety. Because again, each time we come, if you believe in incarnation, which I do, we come to have a soul experience for our soul curriculum to just keep growing and expanding and evolving. So we got to have the experiences of being, the thief or the this or the that, like I remember I was in a war. I was a soldier in one I have such a visceral experience of, and I was doing some messed up stuff, like I can't hold myself accountable now. I had to bring resolve to it and give myself forgiveness because I can't fathom I would ever do anything like that. But it's like, but you did, So I believe we've all had a variety of things. So if you think that you are such a saint, just know you're probably a really crummy human at some point in the things. And if you're like, I feel like I could be a better human, you probably were a saint in another. But I do believe there's an accumulation of it, of if you've had several lifetimes deeply devoted to God and to the spiritual path, it snowballs. And that you bring more spiritual gifts with you, and your soul's a little bit older and, a little bit more potent in sharing the word and da 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 da. I don't know where I am on the, okay, you've been experiencing this and like you have to pay off the debt from another time. I do believe that we can carry patterns and habits and beliefs that are intergenerational through our families and from past lives. I'll be in sessions sometimes working on someone and something can come up and I'll be like, oh, that's not this lifetime. And then we clear it and we just, I don't need to know what it was, this and that, but it's just very clear it wasn't from this lifetime. It's just been residual. But yeah, I'm not sure. I'm excited to contemplate a little bit deeper and chew on that myself today. Of like, where am I in my belief system around karma?
Ooh, I love it. I got to plant a seed, and you're such a teacher. Yeah. I love. Sometimes we're the student, sometimes we're the teacher.
Always.
I find something interesting, and tell me what you think about this before we end with all of your information out and how people can reach out to you. And I cannot wait to talk to you offline. This is something interesting to me. I have an awareness of 2 past lives, and both of them were involving injustice to myself or others. So I do believe in the Anne Boleyn, so Scarlet Letter. I believe I had a vision that I was being led up there and beheaded and the whole thing. Injustice, unrightly accused. And then in Tombstone, Arizona, there is a place called the Birdcage Theater, and there's a brothel. And I went in there and I heard myself speaking, and I knew the rooms, and there were people that came in period clothing, and I was like, get out of my space. And it was intense. And I went to the graveyard in Tombstone, and I literally got sick walking through the graveyard. So I do believe what I've seen, the visions I've been given, that I was perhaps the madam of the brothel, and I was very, very protective of my girls in the way that they were treated with injustice. So fast forward to 2024 and 50 plus year old me today. I love true crime, almost obsessed with true crime because, again, justice, again, the court systems. It riles something up in me. Do you think we do carry these things in? Is it a part of who I am? And every lifetime, I'm always going to be fighting for justice or feel this way about injustice and unfairness. I mean, that's all I know is just those two, but
juicy.
Right. But it feels so real to me. My husband laughs because it's what I do all day as I'm watching shows, and I'm like, there's a documentary out right now about a girl who got kidnapped and raped, and the law enforcement did not believe her. And you guys will see it. It's on Netflix. And it took a woman cop in another city, love her, she's my hero, to put the pieces together to justify. And this poor girl was they were saying it was a hoax. They were going after her for criminal charges. It was absolutely horrible. And me watching it, my heart was just breaking because I knew she was telling the truth. I knew it. And she wasn't being believed. And people were saying, you're a horrible person and you shouldn't lie like this. And finally, at the end, she got justice. But right now I could just feel I'm tensing up from just talking about that. So sorry to be so long-winded on my.
Yeah, all good.
But what
so
do you
good.
think? Do we carry those beliefs at every life? Do we keep bringing those? I mean, it is who we are, but what do you think about that?
So for me, like what's curious is like I oftentimes, especially when we're going into like deep, like soul questions, I think in questions, because the quality of the answers we receive are in direct proportion to the quality of the questions that we ask. So oftentimes I'll ask further question for us to come to more of a capital T truth answer, rather than just say, oh, this is what it is. Like what I would be curious of is if when you ask yourself, is this an innate part of my essence? Is this a part of my medicine? Is this a part of who I am and what I am to carry into each time? Is that a part of essence and medicine? Then us getting clear on that. Because if it's part of your essence, it's a part that's a soul gift. Well, then I would say, yeah, well, then of course you'll keep bringing it with you. And then another question I would have would be, do you want to keep carrying it with you? Okay, there's an awareness. This lifetime, you're now at a space of being able to be aware of it. Oh, wow, I'm really aware that I had this fascination with justice, which shows that I probably had an experience of immense injustice at some point. Do I desire to keep carrying this? Or is there some sort of resolve that can be brought for us to lay that to rest? And is that a piece of my soul curriculum this lifetime? And then there could be a wild card. So those are the questions that would come up for me when contemplating that.
Well, I love that. I love you so much. That is so good. And my questions or my answers to that were yes, 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 and yes. I'm going to carry that forward till the end of time because I feel people need protecting, and I think I'm a protector of souls and people who've had injustice. And I'm all about LGBTQ community, and I'm all about animals, and I'm anti-child abuse, and I'm all about teaching children to love themselves and women to love themselves. And, it is absolutely who I am. And I think I don't know how many lifetimes I've had, but I'm certain I've carried it. And whether I was, the receiver of the injustice or the giver, and maybe I also did that. Maybe I falsely accused people. But I do believe, as I sit here today, there's no way I could ever let that go. Because it's something so inherently the essence of who I am. So thank you for those questions. I love that. I love that. As we wrap up, here we are. Tell us your website. Tell us your book. Tell us how to find you, what you've got going on, all the things, and I'll have all your links in the show notes, of course, so they can reach out to you.
Thanks, girl. Yeah, I like to keep it simple for, connecting. You can always on Instagram, I am Kelly Keefe, and you can just, shoot a DM or something that you heard me here. This really resonated and you want to chat. I'm a human. I'm happy to connect with you. You can go to our website, heartspace.co, and there you can see all the different programs and, book a call. And again, I would love to support you if you're, stepping further into your power and your authenticity. And especially where we're so excited with the Ascended Mastermind. I've grown so much with the Heart Space. Now it's time to share the understanding of bridging the unseen and the seen worlds together. I've been an entrepreneur since 21. I've been in the healing arts for 13 years. The sweet spot of bringing the unseen into the seen is my magic. So if you're someone who's wanting to build your business more and get out there and really make a profit from doing what you are here to do this lifetime, definitely book a call with us, and we'd love to talk with you about that as well.
Oh, you're just a plethora of information, both spiritual and human wise. What's your book's name? What's your book called? Where can we find it? Oh yeah.
So so Rise Above Fear. You can get it on Amazon, and it was a channeled book, so it came through pretty quickly. And it is going deep into, as you may have noticed, a theme throughout the conversation. A lot of what I've been given to share is shifting our perspective of things and cultivating a different relationship to the experiences that are. So it's really moving through the perspective shift of fear and really understanding what it is. And rather than us trying to push it away or shun it and this and that, learning how to befriend it. So we go deep into what is fear on a psychological level, on a physiological level, and a vibrational level. So, and there's lots of prompts in it and questions and practices. So you're embodying it as you read it to be able to renegotiate your relationship to fear.
Ooh, can't wait. Can't wait to read it. Can't wait to read it. Well, thank you so much for being here today, Kelly. Thank you for coming into my existence. Thank you for the contract that we both agreed to. I have no doubt it's not ending anytime soon. In fact, there's a lot of stuff we have to accomplish. But thank you. You really are a beautiful soul, and what you're bringing to the world, shining your light, paying it forward, and spreading the knowledge that people need to hear to change lives here and elevate the planet. That's what we love to do. So thank you, my loves.
Thank you, darling.
Hang in with me. All right, listeners. Excuse me. I really, really hope you enjoyed that with Kelly, because I certainly did. And I just cannot wait to pick her brain even more. I just think she's so well-rounded in her knowledge and understanding of why we're here and what we're doing, and both spiritual, like she said, and in this existence, this human existence. So you know where to find me for your dating coaching, relationship coaching, confidence coaching, life coaching, anything that you need help with, changing those perspectives, changing your mindsets, or just establishing new and better habits for the new year. I'm here for it. And I'm at lifecoachmaureen.com, where you can also find my blog, my books. My dog is more enlightened than I am, and my dog is my relationship coach, as well as my children's book, My Dog Bexley is Just Like Me, for those little guys. Get them started on learning mindfulness early. Feelings are good. Feelings are good. Self-care is good. So thank you all for being here. Do not forget to go to mydogiseverything.net. Our boutique is for your furry babies. I make the treats myself, healthy, holistic, only 3 ingredients, no preservatives, no xylitol in the peanut butter, as well as apparel, paw washers, paw bombs, organic soap, all kinds of fun stuff. So go to mydogiseverything.net, and I love you all for listening. Please do not forget to go do those reviews, share this with your friends and family. Anything you want to comment on or suggest you want to be a guest, please go to Life Coach Maureen at my contact page. You have anything for Kelly and you didn't get her email, which is heartspace.co. You could always let me know and I'll get that info to her as well. Let's be positive and happy when we communicate. Although I am always open to ideas. So love you all. Until next week, please take care of yourselves, take care of each other. Most of all, please take care of those furry babies and please, please, please adopt and do not shop. I love you all. Mwah.
Thank you for tuning in to the I Never Knew podcast. If you found today's episode inspiring and educational, please be sure to follow, subscribe, and spread the word. The more people that join the Inc. community, the more it can develop and influence others as we work together for a healthier and brighter future. Until next time.